So we can use the lambda expressions as an argument for our methods. So that will make our methods more dynamic. And we can create a single method that will replace a lot of other methods. Let's have an example of car class. Okay, so let's say we have a car, and car has a string model, right? We will say private string model, private string the color of the car, and private integer the year of the car, right? So we have different attributes for the car. Now we want to create a getter setters constructor and toString method. So now let's create a class car test, and here we'll create a multiple cars. Let's say car 1 equals the new car, right? And this car will be a sedan car. Color will be, let's say, black, and 2020. The next car, let's create a multiple cars here. The car 2, car 3, car 4, and car 5. So this will be an SUV. This will be another SUV. So let's put them all in a list, saying list of cars. And we will say this is the cars equals to list of, and we'll pass the car 1, car 2, car 3, car 4, car 5. So now what I want to do, I want to print the colors of the SUV cars, right? So let's say we have SUV, I want to print the white and blue. I want to do that on the method. So I will say public void print colors of SUV, right? So we'll pass the list of the cars, which is going to be cars, and then we'll go here and we'll say for loop through each car of the list, and if that cars get model that equals ignore case to SUV, so we'll say system out println c dot get color. So this way it will print the colors of the SUV cars. So now let's try to call this method saying print. So we will make this method static, so we can call it. So we'll say print SUV cars, print colors of SUVs, and we will pass the cars as an argument, and let's see if we get the two colors, which is white and blue. We got them. All right. So now what I want to do, I want to do the same. I want to get the car names that has a year more than 2020, which is 2021 and 2024. So I want to print their car models, right? So let's print them. So we will say public static void print models of new cars, right? So we will say list of cars, right? We will pass the cars. So for loop car c cars, right? And we will say if the car's year is more than 2020, then go ahead and print that car's model. So let's call this method now and say print cars model of the new cars. And we'll pass this list of the cars. Let's see if we will get the right output, which is SUV and the luxury car are the new ones. Yes, we got them. So it is, let's put some lines here so we differentiate which one is printing what. And after the lines, we'll have SUV and luxury. Great, but the thing is I can keep going and add multiple methods by filtering them, right? The only thing between these two methods, what changes here is the condition. Condition is here changing, and the condition is changing here. So instead of creating multiple methods, we can create a single method, but the only thing the condition will be passed as a different condition. How we can do that? The only way we can achieve it by passing a functional interface. So what we will do, we'll pass here to parameter saying, hey, this is going to be condition and condition. So what we'll do, we'll pass this condition right here, say, hey, take this condition, and based on that condition, give me an output. So for that reason, we need to create a functional interface here. And once we'll be using this method, we'll pass a lambda expression, which will implement the abstract method here, right? So let's create a one condition functional interface. First of all, this condition will give us true or false, right? So it will say, hey, this condition is true or false. And we will name this as an apply. And we will say, hey, take the car as an input, right? As a parameter. Now, this is a functional interface. What we'll do, we'll take this functional interface and we will use it here, right? And we'll say, hey, take that condition and apply to that condition to this car. And if this car meets that condition, then go ahead and print me the color of the car. So let's try to do that. So pass one more parameter, which is going to be the lambda expression for that condition functional interface. So we'll say, hey, take this car, right? And check if this car model equals to the SUV. So this way, this condition will be passed to the if statement. And if it is true, then it will go in and print me that color. So let's try now. So we'll run it and see if we get the right output. Yes, we got the right output, right? So we have white and blue. So the SUV cars are white and blue. Same thing here, right? So we will take this condition and apply here. But we need to pass this condition functional interface here, right? And this way, we'll say here, hey, the condition here changes. We are looking for the cars that has a newer model that has more than 2020 as a year and print me those cars. So let's run this now and we will see the correct output, right? SUV and the luxury car. Now we make this condition dynamic. Another thing between this method is changing the output. What are we printing here? We are not always printing the color. We can print the model. So here we can also pass some functional interface saying, hey, take this interface and give me whatever I want, right? So we can say attribute function, right? And we will say get, right? Right, so we will pass the functional interface here and we will replace this, whatever we want to get as an output. So let's do that. So we will come back here. We will say, hey, create a functional attribute function. That will be a functional interface. So create a method that will return a string, which can be a color or model. And we'll name this as a get. And it will take as an input a car, right? So it will take as an input a car. So this will be our functional interface. Now, coming back here, what we will do, I will say get, right? And right here, we will say get car. Here we will say, hey, I want to get the color. Right, so it will simply get us the color and that will be printed here. So let's try that. We have the white and a blue printed here. This is correct. Now, same thing for our print models of the new cars, right? So we will take this and we will pass it here. And we will say, hey, take this get a car, right? And we will say, we want to here we want to get the model of the car. Take this car and get me the model. So this way it will get me the model of the car, right? And it will give me the right output. Yep, SUV and luxury. Right, so this way we replace the condition, right? We pass the condition here as a argument, and we pass the what we want to get from the attribute function, right? Now we look to our method, both of the methods are the same thing. Why don't we have a single method instead of creating 2 or let's say 5 different methods, right? What we can do, we can get rid of this, right? Because both of these methods are doing the same thing, but the only thing condition and attribute function changes, and we apply them here. So let's get rid of them. Instead, let's give a dynamic name saying print output of with condition, right? So we will say, can you print me the output with condition? What output? We don't know what's the output. It's just going to be a get. What condition? We don't know what is condition. We'll pass it when we will use it. This way, I can take this method and I can use it here for my SUV cars to get the colors, and use it here for my newer cars to get the models of that. And this is not a limit. We can use this method as many times as we want. Let's say I want to get the colors of the cars that has less than 2020 year, right? So I will say print output with condition, take these cars, and my condition going to be if the car's year is less than 2020, then get me the car, the color of the car, right? So this way I'm getting the color now. Let's print it and see if we're getting the right output. Yes, white and red is the white 2018 and red 2010, right? And now let's say I want to get years of luxury cars. I want to find out what is the year of the luxury cars. So what I'm going to do, I will say print output with condition. I will pass these cars. I will say, hey, can you look for the luxury cars? We just get model equals to luxury, right? And we want to get them here. So we will say, hey, take that car, x dot get year. But we have an issue here. What's an issue? The issue is attribute function returns only the string, but we are trying to get a year which is an integer, right? So how we can make this more dynamic so it can return any data type instead of only the string? So we can go to this attribute function and we can say, hey, I don't want to return only the string. I want to return any data type, which is R. And I'm going to pass R here, saying I want to return any data type. This way, my method attribute function get method is more dynamic. So I can mention here whatever I want to return. So here we have a get year. Now it will return me the get year. Or we can change it here, say, hey, this is going to be returned, but every time you will be returning, you will need to mention it right here, right? Whatever the data type you will be returning. Okay, so this way we will have a different outputs with the different returns. So 2024 is the correct year. So this R stands for, hey, this attribute function can get any data type, can return any data type for the get method, and we will mention it right here. All right, so this is how we can simplify our method with the different conditions and with the different outputs using the attribute function.